so real quick to give as other people may or may not be joining the stream. So tanking on, or not tanking, God, hand kiting on Druid, or Soul Beast, I guess, is not particularly difficult once you kind of get the hang of it. To start with, it can be a little bit tough. Oh, and Moose, what are your, what's your toughness at? 1560. Okay. Dang it, I'm at 1570. Alright, I can swap out my trinkets. So, here's the very first thing you need to do when you are hand kiting. You need to ask your tank what their toughness is. And you try to take as much toughness as you... Oh, could you go just a little bit higher so that way I don't have to take off one of my trinkets? Because that's so much work. Even just 10 higher is enough. So when you follow the Snowcrows guide, so if you were to pull up Snowcrows, you can go to the one for hand kiting on Soul Beast. It has its own tab and everything. It will give you this build. It gives you two options for pets, so you can either do the brown bear or the black bear, or you can do, I think it's red moa.
I chose you.
Once this comes on cooldown. So there's two options for you. The one bummer about this one is that... Wait. Blue moa, thank you. I don't think I even have blue moa. Oh. Yeah, no, I don't have it. Okay, so I always obviously hand kite on black bear. The one thing that I like the most about it is that it has two invulnerability skills, which is pretty sick. Bear is definitely better than moa. So I'll talk about what the different skills are with that, but if you would like to hand kite, you specifically need to have druid gear, so I have all my healing gear, and then I take as much toughness as my tank allows. So in this case, Whiskey, you went a little, you said a 1560, you said you could go a little higher. So I took a couple of toughness trinkets. I just swap out whatever I have. I have full toughness trinkets for when my tank is like, oh, I have 2500 toughness. I'm like, yeah, you do. And then I just take as much as I am able to. You can have toughness or healing on your weapons. I just have Zerker sword, because that's all I have. I don't need to get another sword just for this. You only have half minstrels. Nice. So, one thing to be very careful of when you are checking your toughness, make sure you're merged with your pet, because that gives you 150 extra. So there's a few special things to this build that are pretty cool. When you're in beast mode, if you would get down normally, you are instead just going to get chucked out of beast mode, and it has a 9-second cooldown on it before you are able to get back into it. So that can be a scary thing because you are missing out on you're DPSing on 2300 toughness. I'm sorry. Okay. Anyway, so it's helpful because if you get kicked out, you won't die, but then you're losing your 2 invulnerability skills and also you're losing 150 toughness, so that is also not great. Here are your 2 invulnerability skills. I'll talk about those in a minute. You have a couple of other... Get off my keyboard. You have a couple of other helpful things. The only thing you're really using this trait line for, the Soul Beast trait line, is so that way you can merge with your pet for the 150 toughness, which also gives you the 2 invuln skills, and then that way you won't die if you mess up and don't hit your button. Then you will be safe and not dead, which is pretty cool. So this is a helpful skill. So you're running the Wilderness Survival, Nature Magic, and Soul Beast trait lines. This is all in Snowcrows, so I highly recommend just taking a gander at what Snowcrows has. You can match this exactly. I don't change anything from what they have. But important things to note on this is that the protective ward on the Nature Magic line is that you get protection when you take damage. It procs every 15 seconds, but it gives you 6 3/4, so almost 7 seconds of protection, which is pretty cash money. You and your pet also get increased concentration, which is good because it makes your boons last longer. And with some of your boons, you get you get regeneration, and obviously protection, and you get various other boons which are helpful. And so having increased concentration is helpful. That's another reason that the druid gear is good, because it also has concentration on it, and it has healing power, which heals you for more when you use a heal skill. This doesn't matter. When you use Warhorn skills, you get extra regen, which is nice, because if you pop over to Warhorn, you can give a little Warhorn 5, which gives you, as you can see, that blue line gives me regen. This is another helpful one. You get quickness when you're hit below your health threshold, which is 50%. Hopefully you're not below 50%, but if you are, then you're going to get extra healing power. And then when you're hit below 50%, you get extra regen. So, a lot of good things on that line. Wilderness survival is helpful. You get recover endurance, which means that your dodge bar will fill back up faster, which is pretty cash money. When this one's not going to be helpful for you, you're not going to get bleeding, poison, or burning. But while you have regeneration, you take reduced damage. So that's also pretty good. When you dodge roll, you get protection, and then because of one of your other skills, I already forgot. Here we go. Okay, so you get protection when you dodge roll, and then because of this trait here, you get to recover health while you have protection. So this build like really doubles down on everything it can do. It all kind of like connects back to itself. So when I'm taking damage from something, I can dodge roll, I will get protection, my protection will give me regeneration. I have other things that also grant me protection. This one like gives protection procs every 15 seconds, so there's like everything is working in your favor, essentially. So the important utilities that we take, you take We Heal as one, just because it gives you it gives you a fair bit of healing, which is pretty cool. Moa Stance is helpful because it increases the duration of boons you grant, and since you grant yourself some boons like protection and regen, this is going to increase the length of those. So if you were to use Warhorn 5, you would grant yourself extra amounts of regen time, which is helpful. Also, any boons you get from We Heal as one will add to that. The rest of that isn't... Yeah, this one's good. So this one, only part of it is actually really that helpful. It gives you resistance, but you don't need resistance, so you never want to activate this one. It does nothing for you if you activate it, because resistance is only for conditions, and you aren't going to have any conditions. You're just going to be taking power-based damage. The passive is you get cover health, so that one's just pretty obviously good. And the most, one of the more important traits that you have is, or utilities, excuse me, is the Signet of Stone. It improves toughness for you and your pet. It's 180 toughness. So there are situations where you might not have either of your invulnerability skills up, and you need to use an invuln skill for whatever reason. Get out of here, you dumb cat. Then you can use this as a last second, I am going to die if I do not press this button. My cat's name is Lord Farron, and he really, really strives every day to live up to his namesake. So it is not ideal to use this, but if it is a matter between you dying and you using your Signet of Stone, yeah, use it. I mean, it's a bummer to lose 180 toughness, but dying sucks a lot more. And the thing about being a hand kite is that if you go down on hands, you're dead. There is nothing anybody can do to save you. The hands do so much damage that you're going to go down almost immediately. It's like if any of you have ever kited on Doom, if a messenger stands on you, you're dead instantly. There's nothing anyone can do to help you. if you happen to have a heal scourge around and they can pull you out, that is the one situation where you could be saved. But even then, you don't want that because then you'll move hands across the platform. So you basically can't go down when you're hand kiting, otherwise the group wipes. So that's the most important aspects of all the utilities. There isn't really a super useful utility to take here. I just take Spirit of Nature and I summon it if I feel like it. Sometimes I don't use it the whole fight, other times at the beginning, and I summon it whenever it's off cooldown. It depends on, I don't know, if I remember that that's a thing I'm doing. So you have a couple of options for weapons, and again, this kind of depends on my mood. If I'm feeling try hard, I'll bring the longbow. I'll do some damage. Sometimes I'll take my Zerker longbow and, like, you know, get in that 1.5k step to me. I do more damage than the tank sometimes. Which can be helpful for some of the Sauls because you can use your point blank shot for a break bar if your team is bad at break barring. But by and large, you usually, oh, that's a sword. Great. You usually want to take Greatsword, and the axe doesn't really matter. I mean, I guess it kind of matters. The axe Warhorn. So the big reason you take this combination is that on your axe Warhorn you have Winter's Bite, which chills, so it's good for using on the prides in pre-event, just to help slow them down from getting to the center. Call of the Wild is good because it gives you regen. I'll be honest, I basically just use Axe 3 for the prides during pre-event, and then I'll just use my other skills as I have them. And then once I actually start hand kiting, I just swap over to Greatsword and I never swap back. If I really, really need the regen, then I can swap and use Warhorn 5, but generally I'm just going to stay on Greatsword. Now, the great thing about Greatsword is that it blocks attacks. So, I think that this one doesn't work for Mind Crush. So you wouldn't, I'm pretty sure it doesn't. There's some skills that for some reason don't work against it. So this is best for just blocking hands. So once you get, I'll demonstrate what this looks like, but hands basically stack up in stacks of 5. So you will get your first stack of hands, it'll pulse once, it'll pulse 2, 3, 4, 5 times, and your max stack of hands will at any time will be 5. Once you get away from that, you'll have another 5 seconds, and then you'll get 5 more stacks of hands. So this skill's awesome because it blocks for 5 seconds, and each stack of hands that is built up will do extra amounts of damage. So I like to take the first 2 hits of hands, and then I use this skill to counter stacks 3, 4, and 5, and then I dodge roll off. So basically the only 2 things you really have to worry about when you're hand kiting is just not getting killed by hands. So counting to 5, dodging, waiting 5 seconds, counting to 5, dodging, waiting 5 seconds, etc. And you need to not die to Mind Crush. So the biggest thing that will prevent that from happening is a delightful skill called Unflinching Fortitude. This is why people bring Black Bear and why you cannot hand kite without it, basically. Also I should keep an eye out if people have questions. So if you have a question about anything, you can pop it into event questions, and I will, and you can ping me so I can see it. So you use Unflinching Fortitude. It gives you 4 seconds of invulnerability, and that means that when Deimos does Mind Crush, I can just pop this. I don't have to go into the ward. I can continue safely kiting hands, and I won't die from Mind Crush. You are still going to get the debuff that makes you take damage for 10 seconds, but you can just heal yourself through that. Usually your tank is going to a lot of times be a heal brand, and if they think about it, they'll throw a Bow of Truth at you. But honestly, you can hand kite on this build without having any extra healing from anybody else. If you do get some, it's pretty cool, but you don't need it. Defy Pain is also I don't need help. Get out of here. I don't need your heals. Don't take pity on me. Defy Pain is a nether invulnerability skill. This one's only 3 seconds long. So you have to be careful. I actually played myself just a couple days ago because I had to use this invuln skill, and I forgot that it's only 3 seconds instead of 4. And so I was like, oh, okay, well, the thing I needed it for happened at the same time as Mind Crush. This is fine. It can work for both. It ended like less than a second before Mind Crush hit, and I got downed and died. So be aware of which skill you're using and how long it is. Signet of Stone, if you use that one, it's 6 seconds of invulnerability, but again, you're losing 180 toughness. So I'll talk more about this in just a second. Swapping real quick back over to the Signet of Stone, so it gives you the 180 toughness. The other thing about that is, I mentioned at the beginning that you need to ask your tank how much toughness they have. Your tank cannot go below 1380. They must have 1381 toughness or higher. You take 150 extra toughness because you are merged in Soul Beast, and then you take another 180 toughness from the Signet of Stone. So you have your base 1000 plus your 150 plus 180, that puts you at 1380. Or wait, there's one other thing I'm missing. 13, yeah, I'm getting another plus 50 from something. Okay, well, I'll have to look that up in a second. I don't know why. Unless it's not 1330, right? Am I crazy?
1330, yes.
Oh, I know that those two numbers together are 1330. I just mean, I thought that it was... Okay, I need to, like, throw this cat out of the room. He's driving me crazy. Yeah, it's 1380, but what's my third thing? Ah! Okay, so you get another 200 toughness from the Stout archetype. I don't honestly know what that's from. All I know is that you can't... Yeah, it's from Stout. But it puts you at... Yeah, here we go. Huh. Okay. So anyways, I'm sorry for getting distracted and having to double check that. You are going to be at 1380 is your absolute lowest that you can be at. Oh my god, I'm so dumb. You don't get 150 for merging, you get 200 because of the traits that you take. Okay. Yep. So, anyways, you are going to take you're going to have a total of 1380 toughness. If your tank cannot beat 1380, I've had a tank try to argue with me about this, and I was like, you have to be above 1380 or you cannot do this fight. So that's a non-negotiable. Otherwise, you just won't have enough toughness and you'll die. So those are kind of the most important things regarding the actual build itself. For the fight itself, assuming you've done Deimos before, Saul will say, get into the ward, quickly! And as soon as he says the word quickly, you need to pop Unflinching Fortitude. The delightful thing about it, so it's got your 4 seconds of invulnerability, which is pretty cool, but the best part about it, by far, it has a 35-second cooldown. Deimos does Mind Crush, I think it's every like 40 seconds, or maybe it's 35 as well. So the cooldown is almost perfect, which is why I try to avoid using either of these two invulns, because if I'm ever like, oh, how soon is Mind Crush going to happen? I could just take a look here and be like, oh, it's going to be in just a few seconds from now. So very important to use that one rather than using the other two. However, if you need to use them, use them. Even if you have to double up on invulnerability because you hit this one too soon, hit your other one. Do not get downed. Super important. Okay, so now real quick, I'm going to talk about during the pre-event. Like I said, you're just going to use your Axe 3. You're going to stay up top, hit some prides. You do so little damage that you being downstairs to hit the pillars is going to be a waste of your time. So you might as well help out with prides. I like to do a little doot-doot on the war horn.
You'll let him
out. Okay, well, we're going now.
I wandered too far.
That's okay. Oh no, I don't want to go downstairs. Well, I'll show you guys what it looks like. So, anyways, we're gonna try to kill some pillars. Let's see if we can kill him fast enough before Saul dies. Oh yeah, look at my 96. Oh. Oh wait, actually I have a Zerker weapon. Oh, okay, we have a dead person. Let's just shoot quick. So I want to talk about just one more quick thing before we pop off. Yeah, make sure you don't step on the pillars as well, because those fear you into the middle, which I'm glad I can say here because you all already know this fight. If I say it at a training, immediately at least 3 people will go, oh really? And then they'll walk over and jump into the pillar and then get feared into the middle and start the fight. It's like a requirement at this point. I didn't say everybody, I said at least 3 people.
Like that dude. Oh no.
Why are you like this? I regret this
confirm that it
choice.
works.
Yep, thanks. Thank you. So glad we could all spend our time GGing.
Oh
Anyway.
my God.
So, hand kiting. Back to that. Please don't jump on the pillars again. I'd really like to go through the thing quick.
Yes.
So with the hand kiting, like I said, you'll be using your Axe 3 for pre-event. Give your friends some Warhorn 5 just to give them some might. They like that. If you do end up going downstairs, you can use your sword. I have a Zerker sword because I don't want to get a toughness sword because that's a waste of my time. So I use that if I do end up downstairs. It doesn't really matter. You're basically worthless when it comes to DPS, so don't stress too much about it. Once the fight actually starts, I'm going to target Deimos just so I have an idea of how much health he has, and then I'm going to kind of zoom my camera in. I will get my first 2 stacks of hands. I'm going to use my block for stacks 3, 4, and 5, and then I dodge. 2 things to be very aware of. When you dodge backwards if you do not press a direction. So in order to ensure that you do not dodge roll off the platform, which every hand kite has done at least once in their hand kiting career, use a direction and then dodge. Super, super important that you do that. Just one other piece of information. The hands take a minute to start spawning after Deimos spawns, so don't panic. I've had people like run around because they are scared that they did it wrong, but it just takes a moment to start spawning. Oh yes, thanks, Bean. So, how many tiers should hand kite be able to handle? So usually, if you have, because the targeting of the tiers is random, so you might have one spawn next to you and it doesn't hit you, which is totally fine. If you have one that's starting to throw stuff at you, that's not ideal. If you have 2 that are throwing things at you, you're kind of boned. If it's close enough, you can pick it up yourself, but I recommend waiting in between stacks of hands. So stack all your 5, then go grab your tier, and then come back, so that way you're not putting hands out on the platform. Yeah, the tiers are random. There you go. Okay, so Bean mentioned this. Yeah, I was gonna kind of talk about that as I was going. So when you stack 5 stacks of hands, each stack does, I don't know, let's say they each do 1,000 damage. So you have 1 stack, okay, it did 1,000 damage to you. You have 2 stacks, now that's doing 2,000 damage. You have 3 stacks, there's 3,000 damage, 4,000, 5,000. I don't know what the exact numbers are, but they do a lot of damage to you. So you want to stack all 5 in the same spot, but you do not want to get hit by the 5th stack. So you would stand here, you count 1, 2, happy reset, 3, 4, and then you wait about 4.5 to 4 3/4 seconds, and then you dodge. So ideally, you will end up with a perfect circle that has 5 stacks in it, and then dodge. Somebody mentioned stacking, doing just a couple stacks, like just 2 and then 3. I would not recommend that, because you are going to end up with so many circles around the platform that are going to make it harder for you to navigate. You generally kite, I mean, it depends on what your tank wants to do, but you generally kite between this one over here and this one. So you just have a quarter of the platform to work with. I've seen some people kite the whole half, but again, it depends on what your tank wants. I just prefer to keep everything as clustered together as I can. And yeah, that's kind of the most important thing, I think. Let's go ahead and just pop off and see if we can get Deimos to spawn. Yeah, we're gonna 5 people. That's all we need. Here, have some might.
Yay, boons.
Oh yeah, don't spend those all in the same place. Well, you got Fury too, with it. Oh god, I'm so weak. Okay, so I just keep an eye out for when Pride spawn. There's one, and then I'm gonna Axe 3 it.
Defense, then offense.
Hopefully we're able to kill all 4 pillars before Saul dies. We're getting a little close though. If he gets hit by one more Pride, he's gonna die. So, yeah, me too. Alright, if we can get these last 2 super quick before that Pride gets it to the middle. No, that's dead. Okay, is there anybody else in stream who's able to join just to kill the pillars? I don't care if you do any damage when Deimos actually spawns. I just need you to help kill pillars so we can actually...
Yeah, sure, I can join to kill pillars.
That would be great. Go ahead and let's shoot. God, we're too pathetic to do pre-event by ourselves. We're trying our best. Our best just isn't very good.
That's Sammy.
Yeah.
It's a Sammy.
Oh my god. I like your name, Sammy.
I'm guessing that's usually a druid.
Yeah, so I made this character, and originally it was just gonna be a druid, but now it has all of a sudden it has three equipment tabs full, and then 4 build templates. So like it has the power, Condi, druid, and soon TM hand guide.
My.
And I just got my brown bear while you guys were talking in Mobile.
Come here.
Brown Bear is the one by the camp, right?
Yeah, and
North
luckily I was
west?
red in World v World, so I didn't have far to trek.
It's close enough to the corner, though. It's pretty hidden.
Oh, sweet. And we
Yeah.
got Fez to join too.
Well, I got there was the one other time I was trying to go for brown bear. I was on like the absolute like furthest corner for spawn, and I made my way all the way over there, and then someone from red just like sniped me, and I was like a quaggin and everything. I was like, I come in peace, and they just shot me. I was like, I'm just trying to go for a brown bear. Okay?
You'll let him out.
I didn't do anything to you.
Oh no.
Okay. So doing the same thing again, just Prides. I wish that I could skip pre-event just to show this, but unfortunately I don't have that option.
Who's picking me? I can't even burn because he's picking me.
Oh yeah, I should be fine.
Okay, this is going at least mildly better. And by mildly, I mean significantly. Oh no, I hit. Okay.
Just one more. What did you
Defense,
say?
then offense.
Okay, so once they go to do their last pillar, I come over to my spot on the north side, and might as well, I'm gonna go ahead and spawn my Spirit of Nature. Okay, so there's Deimos, so I like to just kind of tab over to him, so that way I'm selected on him. And I have 2, I'm gonna 3, 4, 5 stacks, and then I dodge. The only reason I'm waiting until after I hit my 5th one is because I am using the Greatsword skill. 2, 3, 4,
Nothing can bring
wait,
me
dodge.
down.
So now you can see that that 5th one is a little bit off to the side, which is fine, not super ideal, but it's a pretty good stack overall. So I Greatsword again, 3, 4, 5, and then I dodge. He just said get into the ward quickly. I'm going to use my invuln skill. 1, 2, 3, 4, wait, 5. And this usually lines up perfectly, so I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, dodge. 1, 2, 3, 4, dodge. I heal every so often. You can see that I have this banner right here.
Stand in the ward. Quickly.
Alright, there's the word quickly. I'm going to use my skill again. So that banner that I put an arrow on, that is a banner from Saul, and it is keeping me topped up on health. So that's pretty cash money of him. Alright, so there's the green. They're heading downstairs for 75%. And I prefer to ask that... Oh, that's me, baby!
Oh, no.
That's how
I got
I don't know why I'm
kidnapped.
even bothering to hit him. So sometimes this happens. You know, it's not ideal, but you get what you get and you don't throw a fit.
Stand in the ward. Quickly.
Alright, there's the word quickly again, so I'm gonna go ahead and use my invuln skill. And...
I was desperate.
yeah, I've had to tank while hand-kiting a time or two. Okay, so the thing I like to do is ask my squad to let me know when they're on their way back up. Because, as you saw, those hands get pulled in, and so I don't want to have all of those stacks of hands run through me. So I ask them to let me know, and then I can use my Defy Pain skill, so that way as they get pulled in, I can be invulnerable for it.
Quickly.
Okay, there's the word quickly again. And now I can just stand on those piles of hands and walk off because I was invulnerable for 4 seconds. 2, 3, 4, 5. So every alternate stack of hands, I'm just using my Greatsword 4 skill. 1, 2, 3, 4, and dodge. So as you can tell, I took a lot of damage that time. That's just from the after effects of Mind Crush, or maybe that... no, that tier wasn't throwing things. Okay, so I'm gonna grab that tier because I have a few seconds in between.
Stand in the ward.
And there's the word quickly again. And I'm gonna go ahead and summon my Spirit of Nature. I need to keep the hands off by Spirit of Nature or they will kill it.
Okay.
So I just make rows of swords, or rows of hands. Not swords. That sounds dangerous. So the tank is gonna generally keep Deimos away from me. Is the hope. You kind of need to have a little bit of communication between yourself and the tank. Because of where they might prefer to tank and where you prefer to hand kite. This is generally a safe way to go. They're usually going to keep him on the south side of the platform, and you're usually safe to be on the north side. I have instability. So at this point, I would let my team know there's a tier near me. If they can't grab it, then, you know, it's not throwing things at me, so I kind of don't care if we're being honest. So now I've got 2 rows of hands, and they're just about to head down for the next Saul. Which isn't... let me grab this here. Which, normally, you know, your team's DPS isn't quite this bad. So you shouldn't have this many rows of hands at this point.
Hey, listen, I just kind of sat there and got yeeted off because I was watching stream.
Oh my god, why were you
That is fair.
watching stream?
That's what I asked you to do. I just wanted you to spawn Deimos. Okay, so as you can see, we have an oil kite, or oil, right here. So when you are first trying to hand kite, I would very strongly recommend getting somebody to stay up as an oil kite when the rest of the group goes down for greens. It is really, really hard to do both oils and hands when you are first learning how to do it. Now that I've done this for like, I just stood on that stack of hands for so long. Now that I've done this roughly 1.5 million times, I'm pretty comfortable hand kiting and oil kiting at the same time. And it's just me and you, Moose. Alright, I guess I'll go ahead and GG at this point. Okay, if anybody has any questions, feel free to chuck those into the event questions channel.
So, to, like, heal yourself up, like, in between, you're using your heal skill, your F1, anything else?
So...
Were you using F1? I couldn't tell.
I wasn't actually using... I did use it by accident one time because, caps lock is also my F1, and so I accidentally hit that. But what I do is, when I'm low health, you use Moa stance because it increases the duration of boons while in the stance, and the stance lasts for 10 seconds. I use Moa stance, I use We Heal as one. So every time I need to heal, I will use Moa stance, then heal. Their cooldowns are fairly similar, 20 seconds versus 25, so I always wait until Moa stance is back off of cooldown because I want that extra regen and the extra protection. So that is helpful for me to just kind of give myself some extra survivability. If you really, really need it, then yeah, use your heal skill without using Moa stance, but at that point, I would recommend using probably just your Defy Pain skill. So a couple of things, as I was kind of mentioning while I was going, is when your group goes down for, I specifically ask my group to let me know when they are about to come back up, and then I can pop off Defy Pain. I have 3 seconds of invulnerability as the hands get pulled in towards the center. You can dodge roll through them, but because they're coming in this way, you have to dodge roll back out, and that is always a dicey option because you're right on the edge. So you will be able to judge your group's DPS based on where you are at when the hands get pulled in and what stack of hands you're at when they get taken downstairs. So normal, I know I judge people so hard. So normal groups, you'll probably be around here when they go downstairs. This is on 75%. I'm just kidding. I don't judge people that hard. It's just a good metric for me to know. And then they'll come back up right around here. So this will be just as I start to go back to make my second row of hands. Knowing your group's DPS is important because it tells you how many stacks of hands you're going to end up with on the third sol. So each phase takes longer than the ones before it, just because oils are there and killing second sol takes longer. So generally, first sol, you will be all the way over to circle by the time they come back upstairs. And if so I've been with some really good DPS groups. If I'm only like here when they come back upstairs, I know that we're gonna have a really good, okay, I've got somebody to replace you. Thanks for coming. I think they already left though. If I'm only here when they come back upstairs, I know I'm gonna have a really easy time as a hand kite. The worse your group's DPS is, the harder hand kiting is for you on the later sols, because you're going to end up with, I won't walk as far out, I'll throw a thing out. You can end up with like 3 full rows of hands, and that doesn't leave you a lot of room to move, especially if you are oil kiting as well. I've ended up with 4 rows before, and they don't have, if they bring Deimos slightly back from the center, or from the very edge of the platform way over here, and they bring him kind of in, I'll start getting hit by pizzas. So at that point, I would then start, if I have 3 full rows, I'd start kiting over here and using this this part of the platform. Usually when we reach that point, they finally have managed to kill it. A really, really, really important thing, this is true across a lot of raids. In graphics, near the bottom here where it says character model limit, you must have that set to highest. This is true for a lot of raids. If you're having trouble seeing a mechanic that other people are talking about, every single one of those stacks of hands counts as a character model. I've just replaced my PC recently, and it's nice to always keep this on highest now, except for like world bosses, but I used to keep it on lowest in open world, and I would come into Deimos, I would try to hand kite, and I'd be like, oh, look, yeah, I mean, I just went through a full row, and I'm over here, and the hands haven't been pulled in yet, but look at all this, I have so much room, because I could only see like 3 stacks of hands over here, and I would be like, oh, there's all this room over here, and every step I would take over this way, I'd be like, oh, no, there's hands there. Oh, there's hands there. Oh god. Uh-oh, where do I go? So make sure that you have that turned up to highest, otherwise you're gonna play yourself. So, yeah. Most important things, don't get hit by your 5th stack of hands. Especially when you're first learning, you're gonna end up with your 5th stack off to the side of it. Off to the side of the stack of the other 4. So let's say you get your first 4 onto arrow, and then when you dodge roll, the 5th one kind of follows you and it ends up next to it. That's fine. You'll get better at that timing as it goes on. As you can tell, my timing isn't always super great. The most important thing is that you don't take damage from that 5th stack, because that can be enough to just pull you out of, to take you all the way down to the point where you would go down, but instead you get kicked out of Soul Beast, you lose that extra toughness. So, any questions about anything?
What gear are you in?
Yeah, so I'm running Druid healer gear. So I've got my Runes of the Monk, just full healer gear. I use the same weapons. I take my Zerker Greatsword just because the only Greatsword that I have is Zerker. If I had a toughness one or healing one, I would take that. But I just use that for the counterattack. And then I take whatever, I just bought random exotic trinkets. So these are all really, really cheap. Settler's Ring, Amulet of Triple Curiosity. I like, this one's okay because it's got toughness and vitality increases your health pool. So this number is higher than it would be if I unequipped that. So you can see that it drops from 16,922 from 17,772. This one's got toughness and healing power. So taking something that has toughness and either vitality or healing power is great. You can get these for like 50 silver on the trading post. These are my toughness ones. Yeah, so I've got Settler's Ring, Amulet of Triple Curiosity, another Settler's Ring, Emerald or Chalcum Earring, and a Settler's Keepsake. So if you're trying to find these... Okay, I'm not going to go for very much longer. This is pretty much just the end of it. So you can go into here in this gear, and... Sorry, first thing you need to go to is armor. So you want to go into like rings. You can use your little gear. Say that you want toughness and healing power, and then you can say match my level, and there you go. You can get a crappy cleric's ring. If you want toughness to be main stat, then you can just search through here. I've got toughness main stat, and then just buy whatever's cheap is my recommendation. All right, anything else? As you get better with hand kiting, you can take a lot less toughness, and you'll be able to do a much better job accommodating to whatever crap your squad throws at you as they move Deimos into the middle of the arena, and you have to deal with pizzas now. Because that always happens. Maybe don't do that, but thank you for the offer, Moose. All right. Well, that's all that I have. So if you have any questions, feel free to hit me up. Oh. Oh, do you want? I can go through it one more time, if you'd like. Not the whole spiel, but I can have, if the 5 people who are still in the squad are willing to just quick kill some pillars. All right. Yeah, I just need the pillars to die. TLDR is Soul Beast. Go to Snowcrows, get this this build. Use Druid gear. Make sure you have a greatsword. It doesn't matter what stats it is. Get extra toughness based on how much toughness your tank has. And start kiting over here. Count 5 stacks of hands right before the 5th stack hits you. Dodge. Wait 5 seconds. Start counting 5 stacks of hands. Dodge before it hits the 5th one. Rinse and repeat. Fight your tank. Yes. You have to be above 13-8.